Hey, hey, hey. Hopefully you can still hear me. What's going on, everybody? What's up? What's up? What's up? Go ahead and share this live out. If you're watching a replay, go ahead and share this live out. My name is Jamal, the credit protector. I am your funding coach and credit coach. I help small business owners, entrepreneurs, investors, and everyday people get access to credit and get access to funding. My goal The goal is to help 100 small business owners get access to over $100,000 in funding. Let me move this mic. Let's do some setup real quick. Happy Friday to everybody tapping in. Go ahead and share this out. We're going to be covering a lot of different topics today, kind of like all over the place. And there's going to be some updates from some experiences I've had with my recent clients. We're also going to discuss some tips and tricks for those that are interested in how to overcome some limitations with Capital One. We're also going to be talking about a funding strategy with American Express. You can get up to 14 credit cards with American Express, but you have to do it in the right order. We're going to talk about that later on. Let me get this real quick. Doop, doop, doop. What's going on? As everyone, as you come in, just let me know where you're coming in or tapping in from. Love to know more about you guys, what you're doing, what you're getting into. Let's see. Let's get in, doing some housekeeping right now. Put this on here. All right. So the title is kind of long. It's kind of all over the place because that's how it is today. It's Friday. I would say I ain't got no job. Technically, I don't. I work for myself. I got hella shit to do though. Hella shit to do. It's been a while since I came on. I just been ripping and running. Traveled down to Texas for a conference. Met a lot of amazing people doing a lot of amazing things. Went down to North Carolina, tapped in with some business owners down there, and it's just been great. So I know it's been maybe almost a week now since I came on. I just wanted to tap in with y'all, see what's going on. Shout out to everybody that's tapping in. Share this out with anyone that's interested in credit, that's interested in leveling up their credit journey, that's interested in getting access to capital. So one of the things, I had an interesting conversation with, I had a consultation call. And, well, let me start off with this first thing. 800 score or $500,000. What would y'all pick? I know my answer. But what would y'all pick? Let me know what you would pick. For me, I'm always going to take the cash. Like, there was a point where I was like, oh, credit is life and everything. And it is. Credit is very important. But I can tell you right now, Logan, what's going on? I can tell you right now, always take the cash. Any influencer, fake guru, or somebody that says, oh, get the credit, they don't know what they're talking about. Or they're just saying it just to say it because they're trying to sell you like a credit repair service or something. I promise you, 500,000 will fix any credit issue you have. You can literally buy a credit score with $500,000. All right. Always take the money. So let me get into something with the discovery call that I had with one of my clients. Well, it's not a client, it's a discovery call. This young lady is a business owner, and she claims to be doing or have done multiple six figures, but she had a weak credit score. And she was asking me what I do and what I specialize in. I was telling her, I build out custom funding sequences and funding strategies for small business owners. And I focus in on and specialize in on more the traditional side and alternative lending, right? And she asked me a very interesting question. Y'all also let me know if this fits you. She was like, well, why do you focus on the traditional side of funding? She asked that because she has a weak credit score. She only had like a 530. And even though being in business for all these years, she never improved her credit score to the point of getting access to the capital that she wanted from businesses. I mean, from the banks. So she was very, very, very interested in building business credit without the use of a personal credit. And I love the internet, but I hate the internet because it really got people out here, smart people, brilliant people, people that have families, people that are taking care of their children, people that, operate automobiles and that we travel every day together with, right? They really have people out here thinking that they can completely disregard their personal credit and then turn around and get access to hundreds of thousands of dollars in funding. And that's just not true. Like, she mentioned Donald Trump, and she mentioned big companies that don't use personal credit. And to her credit, absolutely, you can get business funding without using your personal credit. Absolutely, you can get millions of dollars in business funding without using your personal credit. But no one ever tells you how. There's a reason that these people and these students go to these Ivy League colleges, right? There's a reason for that. The reason is so that they can network with other multimillionaire families to get access so that they can start investing into each other to build up these multi-million-dollar companies. It is not, oh, I'm going to go to the bank with a 530 credit score and ask them to give me $500,000. That's not how that goes at all. If you're thinking that you're trying to build something like, quote unquote, Donald Trump, let's think about it. One, Donald Trump and his family has been in business for over 50 years. The next thing is that Donald Trump pays millions of dollars to a team, not one person, a team of people, a team of attorneys, a team of tax advisors, right, that help him navigate the financial world. Another thing is that a lot of his wealth comes from real estate, which operates a lot differently than just, let's say, if you just wanted some credit cards or a business line of credit. That world operates a lot more differently. And he works with investors. If you're in a situation where you're like, I need capital for my business, but I don't have good personal credit, and you feel like your business is a great idea and it's worth investing in, you can pitch it at competitions and win awards. You can pitch it to private investors. You can pitch it to venture capitalists. They will give you money. That's one of the routes that Donald Trump uses or has used. That's one of the many routes that a lot of these major corporations use. The other route that they use is they turn into a C Corp and they sell equity or shares of their stock, right? That's how they're able to do that. But guess what? A lot of these people also have good personal credit, or they know somebody with good personal credit. So I explained that to her, but she was really like, and she started to mention things about how banks, commit fraud, and banks, do things that aren't in the best interest of consumers. And we hear this often. I'm not ignorant to the game. I see Wells Fargo getting sued. I see that American Express has gotten sued by the government. Every major bank has a lawsuit against them from the government directly. This ain't hearsay, she say. You can go to CFPB, type in the bank's name, or you can go to Google, type in bank lawsuit CFPB. They're going to come up, right? But here's the flip part. The conversation is about getting access to capital from a bank. Access to capital. A bank's not gonna give you money if you walk in there talking about their fraud and, oh, you guys did this and that to me or to my family or whatever, right? We want to be able to, what we have to do is we have to learn how to think like the banks. Think like a banker. Think like the person sitting across from you at that table looking at that computer screen. Most of those people are just 9-to-5 workers like the average everyday person, right? Or some of them are also small business owners like you and I, right? They have no idea that their bank is getting sued. They don't know anything about consumer laws. They don't know what their own consumer rights are. So walking in like a combative way to the bank doesn't help our case, right? It doesn't help your case. It doesn't help you get access to that 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 that you're looking for. Okay. This thing, when it comes to banking, when it comes to getting access to capital, it's a game. That's why it's the credit game, the funding game. It's all a game. Life is a game. To win any game, we have to know how to play by the rules, right? So imagine, I'm sorry, this is a tangent. I'll get into actual tactics and stuff, but I would need this out there for all I want to avoid fixing my credit so I can get business funding. You're not helping yourself by doing that. I got to tell everybody, if you think you about to be out here, oh, I'm going to get $500,000 in 6 months with a 550, it's not probably going to happen. Like, fix your credit or work with someone that has good credit. Anyway, do the banks cross the line? Do the banks have illegal practices? Do the bank violate consumer protections? Absolutely, 100%. But for us going in as small business owners, as individuals, we still need to know the rules that they play by. People use Donald Trump. Guess what? Donald Trump understands the rules that the economy plays by. He's been studying it for years. His team of attorneys, tax professionals, his marketing team, right? All these people have been studying the system and the game for years. We cannot force the system to change. We must learn how to navigate the system, just like the Matrix, right? It's literally like once you understand, you unplug from the Matrix, you're able to hop in and out of it at will. That's exactly what we need to do when it comes to this entire system, whether it's the legal system, the banking system, they're all systems, right? We have to be able to turn into Neo, understand the code, how this matrix is designed, and then be able to pivot in and out of it at will. One thing I can say as far as that, right? Walking in, what's going on? Walking in and yelling at the banker, telling them that they're defrauding and you're the original creditor and money isn't real, that's not going to get you any funding. It's not. That's not going to get you any funding. Think about it as if you're playing a sport, right? Let's say you're playing basketball. Right. What's up, Brent? Let's say you're playing basketball and one of your teammates decides that they're going to pick up the basketball and run to the opposite side of the court. Once they make it to the opposite side of the court, they slam the ball down and start dancing. Y'all going to be looking at him like, hey, what's going on with him? What the fuck is he doing? Like, is he playing football right now? Like, what game is he playing? Not only is he not going to win the game, everyone else is going to be looking at him like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? And they're going to kick him off the team. and he's not going to be able to come back until he learns how to play the game. Same thing when you go in the bank. You walk in there telling them that they owe you money. They have to give you no doc loans. They have to do this. They have to do that. They're going to look at you crazy. They're going to be like, what the hell is this dude talking about? What game is he playing? Like, what do you mean we don't have to check your credit? Like, we have to check your credit. You want some money, right? We going to check your credit. Nah, you don't have to do that. You're playing the wrong game. When you're in the bank, you play by the bank, the game of banking. Have a good credit score. If they want to see docs, have docs. If you don't have docs, then discuss with them, talk to them about the products that do not require docs. They have products that do not require docs. You have to ask them about it. They have these called streamlined programs, right? But walking in thinking that you're going to single-handedly rearrange the banking system, no, they're going to look at you stupid. Just like if you're on a basketball court playing football, they're going to look at you crazy. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, this isn't the time for us to argue with the bank. We want the money. We want our businesses funded. So if they want good credit, give them good credit. That doesn't mean that. And the great thing about business funding, here's a tip for everyone. What's going on, Brent? Here's a tip, y'all. This is an advanced tip. Hopefully, if you catch it, you catch it. Especially as businesses and business owners, it doesn't have to be your credit. It doesn't have to be your credit. Because businesses can be owned by multiple people. Businesses have members. Maybe 2 of the members out of the 5 have good credit. Again, understanding the rules of the game. The rule is have good credit so we can get you money. It didn't say it had to be your credit. It says somebody who owns this company needs to have good credit. Okay? Do what you want to do with that. But that's a rule of the game. You have to know what the rules are and then work around them, work with them and through them so that you can get what you want. Right? Another thing she asked me as far as like, why do I like traditional banking as opposed to doing business credit or no PG, is that it's faster. You're not with let's see, Brent, like for instance, Brent has an 800 credit score. He's going to be able to get access to $300,000 in the next 3 months if he wanted to. Easily. Potentially without really showing a lot of documentation. Right? Just because he has a strong credit profile. And it's hard to manufacture an 800 credit score. Even if you try to just do authorized users, you're still going to cap out at 7 something. You're not going to hit an 800. Right? So part of the rule of the game is making sure you just got a good credit score. I got $200,000 with a brand new business just because I had good credit. And here's another rule of the game, right? Part of the rule, another rule is just paying your shit on time. Just paying your shit on time. Like I had an 815 credit score. I was only making $60,000 as a W-2 employee, and I had an 815 credit score. You don't need to make a lot of money in order to have good credit. It doesn't mean you're rich. It doesn't mean you're rich. One of the rules of the game is just make the payments on time. You can have an 800 and only make $50,000 a year, right? The other part is that your credit score is designed for you to use it. Don't just put it up there as a trophy. Like, okay, you got an 800, not you, Brent, but someone else. Like I know people, I've had clients who reached a 700 and they didn't want to use it. They're like, oh, I just want to use only credit that I only want to use credit that doesn't check my personal credit. I'm like, okay, you're going to be limited, but you can do that. There are ways to have access to funding that doesn't check your credit, but you immediately limit yourself, right? You immediately limit how much access to capital your business can do, unless you're really good at fundraising and talking to people and networking. But if you're not, and you don't have that network, then you're going to be limited to vendor accounts, and you're going to be limited to like fintechs, mostly fintech credit cards that act as charge cards, right? Maybe a gas card. And if you're not going to use your personal credit to go for funding, it's going to cost you money out of pocket, because in order to build business credit, you have to open up these vendor accounts, right? So if I have a client or a potential client, I'm talking to them, they're like, oh, I don't have any cash flow and I got bad credit. I need to try and build credit. Well, now I don't have cash flow. I don't have any money and I'll need credit without using my personal credit. The first step is to get some cash flow in, because if you want to build up your business credit, it's broken down into tiers, right? And those tiers are based on the relationships that you build with other businesses. So that's why we say you're going to get Uline, you're going to get Granger, you're going to get some gas cards, right? You're going to get eCredible. In order to get these accounts, you have to submit payments, right? When you're with Granger or Uline or Quill, you may have to spend like $150, $200 before they even report to your credit. Okay, cool. Thanks, Brent. So those those type of limits come from credit checks. If you want, oh, we can help you get funding, right? Thanks. You know, I even tell people I can help my clients get $250,000. We're going to have to run your credit though. We're not going to play. I'm not going to play the game of I want 250,000, but I got bad credit. Fix it. Let's fix it. Like, I have a team that helps you with your personal credit. The link is in the description. Boom. Fix your personal credit. All we need is like a 660. There are government programs out here where even if you just had a 660 and docs for your business, you have a legitimate business and you can show some cash flow, you can get funded. You can get 50,000. You can get 100,000, even with a weak credit score. Because if you have a weak credit score, the government, other organizations, they understand that businesses go through these trials and errors. They understand that business owners have they understand that newer business owners and sometimes veteran business owners are going to have shit hit the fan. So your credit isn't always going to be pristine. That's why they have programs and I'll give y'all this tip. It's called a CDFI. That's why CDFIs exist. There are banks that have slightly more lenient criteria when it comes to lending, as opposed to you want to go to a Chase or Bank of America. They want to see pristine personal credit. They want to see a 700 plus, right? A 720. But with CDFIs, you may be able to get away with a 600, right? Check in your area. Just literally type in your state CDFI. Okay. They're going to want to, they're also going to want docs. All right. And a lot of them, they may or may not be startup friendly. So check their programs, reach out to them directly. Right. So learn the rules of the game. That's what I'm saying. Learn the rules of the game, learn the players. CDFI is just one of the players of this game that we call banking. That's just one of the players. You got tier one banks, the big banks, the national banks, you know them. You got your regional banks, you got your credit unions, right? These are the different players. You have CDFIs, right? Then you have other type of tax credits that you can get access to when you work with a good tax attorney or a CPA, right? A tax professional, an accountant, right? I work with an accountant that helps people get the EIDL loan and the EIDL tax credit that can go up to like freaking $20,000 per employee. They help people with that. Okay. There's always a way to get access to the capital as long as you know the rules of the game and you have players on your team that can help you get access to that capital. Right. But for those of you that are in who may not be aware, you can still build your personal credit while building business credit. You can build both of them simultaneously, right? And you can have a team work on either one of them. Right? At the end of the day, you want to think like a banker. What do they want? What do they want to see? What are their rules? And you can don't be afraid to interview bankers. Set an appointment with them, sit down with them, ask them questions, see exactly how they can help you before you even deposit any money into their institution. I was speaking to a client. Well, I'm sorry. I was on a discovery call and the person was telling me that they deposited about $800,000 into a bank. And then they wanted to sit down and ask them about what products they had. And it to them, the banker wasn't really trying to help them. Now, here's the thing that could have been avoided if she took the time to interview the banker, ask them questions about how can they help you as a business owner, right? How can they help you? What they got? What y'all got? Y'all got any zero interest credit cards? Y'all got business lines of credit? You got loans? Like, what's the criteria? What different type of loan programs you have? Do you do commercial real estate? Do you do mortgages for commercial property? Can I buy a house with you as an entrepreneur? Like, how long of a relationship do we need before I get to qualify for a more streamlined process or a more streamlined program, right? How much credit are you all lending out before you need documentation? You can sit down with your banker, ask them these type of questions because these are the questions that matter. When we come online or you may be searching online for different data points, that's how you find and create your own data points because banks are constantly changing their rules, right? You got to know the rules of the game. Part of knowing the rules of the game is staying tapped in and continually learning the rules of the game as they change. So right now there's been a shift. Actually, let me pause real quick. Let me see what Brent was saying. I have an 800 score. I own 3 acres of land. Do you think it would be advantageous to subdivide the property and build 2 homes at the same time for the purpose of renting? I am not a real estate developer or a strategist. So that one, I wouldn't be able to give like real detail, right? I have friends that do real estate development, but that one is a little bit out of my pay grade, right? I stick in my lane, y'all. I'm not going to sit and act like I know everything there is under the sun. I help small business owners get access to capital. That's what I do. Land development, I have no background in that. I'm going to be straight up and down honest with you, right? As far as how to build it, it would be based on the cash flow. Like with real estate, you got to run the numbers. So if the numbers make sense to build them one at a time, do that. If it makes more sense to do it two at a time, do that. Toga, you said, what would your advice be for an 18-year-old? Gotcha. Cool. I appreciate it, Brent. Definitely stay tapped in. What would your advice be for an 18-year-old getting a credit card for the first time? My advice for an 18-year-old, start off with good habits first. And this is for anybody. And this is a great habit to develop, especially as you level up and you start getting more and more credit cards. Put your due date and your statement date into your calendar and set a reminder. Set a reminder for your due date and for the statement date with your credit card. That way you never miss a payment and you know exactly when your credit report is going to update. Your credit report updates every statement date or closing date or reporting date. It's all the same thing. The statement date, the reporting date, and your closing date is the same exact thing. It's just different words for it. Okay, different terms for the same thing. That is when the credit card company or the loan or the mortgage company sends data over to the credit bureau and tell them how much you owe or tell them what your balance is. That's why the statement date is so important. That 15-3 rule is bullshit. They don't care. That doesn't affect your credit score. What affects your credit score is your balance going down by the statement date or your aka the reporting date, aka the closing date, right? Another thing I would say is stay under 30% of usage, right? The closer you are to zero, the better. Another piece of advice I would give is use your credit card like it's a debit card. In fact, get a credit card that gives you points or some kind of cash back or rewards. There's no point in having a credit card that doesn't give you rewards. Also, I would say get a credit card that doesn't have any fees. So no monthly fee, no annual fee, if possible. If possible. I understand it's not always possible, but if possible, get one with no fees. If your parents have good credit, have them add you on to their credit so that will help you build your credit. You'll be on their card as an authorized user, but since they can tell that you all live together, then it will still boost your credit up and you'll get access to even better credit cards. That's what I would say there, right? Now, yeah, you never want to miss a payment ever. Like missing a payment destroys everything. For us, listen, if you want to work with me when it comes to business funding and you have missed payments, we would need to get those missed payments off 100%. Like one missed payment can completely destroy your opportunity. Again, rules of the game. One of the rules is they want to see a clean credit report before you go for funding. Now, some banks are forgiving, especially if you have a long relationship with them. They may forgive one late payment, maybe two late payments. But if your credit report is riddled with recent collections, when I say recent, I mean the past 2 years, recent collections, recent charge-offs, recent late payments, they're not going to rock with you. If they do, you might get a $3,000 credit limit, maybe. You might get a $3,000 credit limit. I had a client who had 3 charge-offs. She applied at Bank of America. They gave her $3,000. Excuse me. They gave her $3,000. It's not a lot, right? But that's while she still had 3 charge-offs, and the charge-offs were like 3 years old. Okay, so I'm just telling you guys what I'm actually seeing. It's not speculation, right? So some rules, some other rules that have been changing. I want you guys to know this. When we're looking at our banks, we want to start right now during this credit crunch. Start with your local banks, the banks that you already are doing business with. So if you already have a credit card with them, you already have personal checking or personal savings, money market accounts with that bank. Open up a business checking account, open up a business credit card with that bank, because they can already see your trend, especially if your trend is going up, right? Your daily balances on the personal side are increasing. They can see that your credit score is increasing. They see all of these things, right? That's the perfect bank to do business with. Why? Because a lot of the banks that have gone viral for funding foreign entities are no longer funding foreign entities, particularly Key Bank, particularly Truist Bank. These are two big banks in Pennsylvania that have gone viral multiple times from multiple financial influencers, and everyone say, hey, file a foreign entity, file a foreign entity, file a foreign entity. You can get 50,000, you can get 100,000, you can get 25,000. Guess what? A friend of mine decided he wanted to run the play last month. They're from Chicago. They set up foreign entities in Pennsylvania, and he decided, hey, I'm going to go set up my foreign entity, and I'm going to fly out to Pennsylvania. Truist just denied him without telling him why. But I told him on the back end, I was like, you filed a foreign entity. Truist not rocking with foreign entities right now, right? Stick with your local banks. Build locally, right? The other thing was Key Bank. They're not rocking with foreign entities right now. And they're not even rocking with consulting companies right now, because so many people say, oh, I'm a consultant, I'm a consultant, I'm a consultant. Got access to capital, didn't pay it back. So now they don't even like the idea of owning or operating a consulting firm, especially if your firm is new. If you plan on running any type of foreign entity play, you want to reach out to the bank and make sure that they do business with businesses that are not located within their geographical footprint. The other thing I would say is you definitely want to build a relationship with them. Definitely go into the bank physically, make deposits, right? And continue to make deposits for at least 3 months before you decide to ask for any type of capital. Plus, during that 3 months, it gives you time to learn the rules of that bank, understand how they operate, understand what things you like about it and what you don't like about it. Like, for instance, I don't really like TD Bank's credit cards. They suck. I would never get an account with TD Bank for their credit cards. But the business line of credit is lit. They did a whole special for their business lines of credit where they weren't charging you any additional interest with their business line of credit for Small Business Month, which was last month. And they allow you, if you're already a client of TD Bank, they allow you to apply for their business line of credit online. And that online application is no doc, and it goes up to $100,000. Again, learn the rules of the bank. Walking in, trying to force them to do something that they ain't going to do ain't going to help you, right? Same thing with Bank of America, right? On the personal side, I'm not a huge fan of Bank of America, but on the business side, Bank of America is pretty sweet because they have something called a preferred partner program. This preferred partner program actually gamifies building a relationship with them. They want you to build a relationship with them. And they have these tiers based on how much money you deposit. You can work your way up from gold up to, I think it's diamond, right? As you work your way up, guess what? You're going to get perks as a small business owner. They don't do this on the personal side. This is specifically, I'm talking to my small business owners. Listen up. They give you perks. What are these perks? One, you get lower interest rates. You can save, like, they take off as much as 2%, 2 points off your interest rates on your loans. Now, for those of us that are lending, Brent, you understand this with real estate, saving 2 points is a lot, especially we're talking about on a 30-year mortgage, right? Saving 2 points is a lot. Okay, saving any amount of percentage on your auto loan is a lot. We're talking about saving thousands of dollars over the course of 5 years on an auto loan. The other thing they do is that they give you more cash back on your business credit cards. People don't know this, but Bank of America has a business credit card that goes up to 5% cash back on any category of your choosing. 5% of any category that you spend the most money on. That's more than no other card goes up to 5% like that. That's huge, especially if you're someone like myself who enjoys investing. That is a great way to earn points and cash back, right? Brent, what you say? I appreciate it. You got a joint card with your mom after you join the Army. That's dope. Yep, absolutely. Good credit. Yep. Chase Sapphire Reserve. Absolutely. Chase Sapphire Reserve is a great card. Yep. Higher limit, low utilization. Yep. Never miss a payment. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. That's just the formula. That's the formula. Those are the rules of the game. Right. So some common things I see a lot of folks talk about. Who here, if you have Capital One, right? Anybody here has Capital One? Now, Capital One is a very interesting bank because they have this thing called a bucket. They have a bucket system, which is, when you're not aware of it, it's super confusing. But I'm going to break it down for you right now so you're no longer confused. This bucket system is painful because what happens is that once you're in a particular bucket with Capital One, they will stick you in that bucket and you'll hit a ceiling based on how much they're willing to lend to you, right? Like for me, one of my credit cards I've had for like freaking 20 years, and it does not go over $7,000. Like I've been at $7,000 for like a decade. It's crazy. They just won't increase the limit. And the reason for that is with Capital One, what they do is that, let's see, what Capital One will do is they'll look at your credit profile at the time you apply for the card. So example, if you decide to apply for the Quicksilver card while you're in the rebuilding stage, they may offer you the secured credit card or the Quicksilver card with the annual fee. Yes, the Quicksilver has 4 different versions of the same card. It's ridiculously confusing, but hear me out. Based on your credit profile at that time, they may give you the secured Quicksilver, or they may give you the Quicksilver with the annual fee. From that point on, you're kind of stuck in that category. They're like, hey, this person's credit is weak, this person's credit is poor, so you're stuck right there with that Quicksilver card. And in some instances, you're never really able to graduate out of it. Now, here, how do you get out of the Capital One bucketing system? As your credit improves and increases, let's say with the Quicksilver, since the Quicksilver has an unsecured version, that card can graduate and automatically unsecure from a secured version to the unsecured version. But let's say you already have an unsecured Quicksilver and they won't give you a credit limit higher than $7,000 because of where your credit was when you applied for that card. So you're kind of stuck there. The only way that you can get out of that bucket is that you have to apply for a higher tier credit card within their ecosystem. Right now, a higher tier credit card would be considered the Venture X, or the Saver. At one point, the Saver and Saver One was like their top tier, their premium card, right? The Saver was $95. It's metal, and it would give you like 3% on all of these different categories like food, restaurants, entertainment. And that's how you break out of their bucketing system. Each card that they offer is associated with a particular bucket. So if you're currently at, let's say you're kind of stuck in the poor credit or low tier bucket, but you know your score has gone up, maybe you applied when you were at 650, but now you're at a 720. What you want to do is just go ahead and apply for a new card in a higher bucket. So apply for the Saver One or the Saver card. That'll put you in a higher bucket, and that will unlock those higher limits as well. Because the Saver One card can go up to like $30,000. With this same thing, if you feel like you're kind of stuck with the Saver One card, then I would go to the next tier, which is their travel cards, which is the Venture family. So go for the Venture card or the Venture One card. That will unlock the next tier. Or if you know your credit is strong, maybe you started off with them when you were in the 600s, but now you're in the 750s, go for the Venture X. And you'll break out of that low tier bucket within Capital One, because once you reapply, they're going to pull, unfortunately, Capital One will pull all three of your credit reports. They'll see that, oh, he's in a whole new realm now. He's in a whole new bucket. And they'll internally upgrade you to the higher tier bucket and give you the new that Venture X and push you in a top tier, top category bucket internally, right? So that's how you break out of your Capital One bucket. Now, everyone's favorite, I put on here American Express. I saved them the best for last. For everyone that's stuck around this long, thank you. Welcome. My name is Jamal. I am the credit protector. I am a credit coach and also a funding coach. I help small business owners get access to capital. I do that through credit coaching, okay? Personal credit coaching, business credit coaching, and credit strategy. Credit strategy is super important because strategy means we're thinking long term. We're not only focused on the here and the now. Right now, you want to be thinking about the rest of the year, what your funding journey is going to look like for the rest of the year. Are you in the garden? What are you going to do after you get out of the garden? What banks are you building with over the next 3 months? So in 3 months, you can double back to them and get access to that 10, 20, 30, 40, 100,000 that you're looking for, right? A lot of banks will actually go up to 250,000 before they need external or a higher level of approval, right? I've spoken to multiple branch managers and they'll tell you when you're speaking to them, yes, we can go up to 250,000 in lending exposure. Now, certain products within their catalog cap out at certain levels. So, for instance, let's say you have, going back to Capital One, the Capital One Saver caps out at about $30,000. A credit union credit card, like let's say Bowen Credit Union, their credit card caps out at 50,000. That's the highest that credit card will go. You have Navy Federal. Everyone likes Navy because they will give you high limits. They give you high limits, but their cap is $80,000. You will, once you hit $80,000 in credit card limits, you're done. Don't even ask. They're not going to give you any more. And then we have other credit unions that go up to $100,000, but they require a longer relationship. One such credit union is what damn. As soon as I just had it in my mind. Not UNICEF. It's damn. I was gonna say the State Department. It's not the State Department. I forgot that fast. Sorry, y'all. Sorry. It'll come back to me. As soon as I get it, I'll bring it back, right? So a funding strategy. I'm gonna give you guys a funding strategy for American Express. This particular strategy, one of my mentors has been able to secure over $1 million in credit just with American Express using this strategy. So this is the $1 million American Express funding strategy. All right, this is for everybody that's still on here. This is what we do. We help small business owners get access to capital. Anyone listening can use this strategy and just fund themselves just with American Express. American Express, let me give you some background. American Express can give you up to 14 credit cards. 14 credit cards. My mentor has 16 American Express. American Express doesn't even know how he managed to get more than what they actually are supposed to allow. Here's the strategy. The $1 million American Express strategy. You want to start on the personal side, right? And I'm giving y'all this, I made another video about this as well. As far as credit card stacking, you guys can check that out. It's credit stacking 101 is the name of the video where I go into more detail. You start on the personal side with American Express. You can do this even if you don't have amazing credit. Like I got into American Express with a 685. So we don't need perfect credit. You start off with them, and American Express has this rule where they'll triple your limit within the first 90 days. So regardless of what your starting limit is, even if it's only $2,000 or $4,000, $6,000, it doesn't matter. You're going to get in there on the personal side. You're going to use this card regularly, and you're going to pay it off in full regularly. American Express likes to see regular payments. If you can pay them off daily and treat it like a debit card, that's even better. Even better. They love that. And then within 91 days, using a card like this, they're going to automatically triple your limit. So whatever your limit is, they're automatically going to 3x it. If they don't 3x it, if they do not triple it, you can call or you can hit them up via the app and ask them for a credit limit increase. They're going to ask you how much you want. You're going to ask them for 3 times your credit limit, whatever it may be. From personal experience, this worked. I turned a $2,000 American Express everyday card into a $22,000 American Express everyday card. Just following this strategy. So you're going to be able to triple your credit limit within 91 days. And then every 90 days after that, you can do the same thing. You can keep tripling it. That's with one card. Now, after 91 days, along with being able to triple your credit limit, and share this out to those that are interested, right? This is game for everyone who doesn't know. Along with tripling your credit limit, you can now start applying for other American Express cards. Now, here's the kicker. Once you're in American Express, they do not do another hard pull for those additional cards. So every new card you get with American Express after 91 days is a soft pull. On top of that, you can apply for and get approved for up to 5 American Express cards in a day. And take your pick, whether it can be personal and or business. Okay. I personally have 6 American Express cards, 6 of them. So you start on the personal side. That's going to give you a hard pull on Experian or TransUnion. You do your 91 days. 91 days, you're going to triple your credit limit, and then you're going to apply for 5 cards, any 5 that you want. Doesn't really matter. It can be on the personal. You can do a combination of personal and business, depending on what your flow is. If you like the personal green, your Delta, your Hilton, your platinum, your gold, your rose gold, pick a combination. They're going to approve you up to 5. Now, some people, they may deny you at 3. But when the economy is booming and we're not in a credit crunch, they'll go up to 5 cards in that day. Okay. I think the most I've gotten approved for is 3 at one time. I got the business platinum, the business gold, and the personal platinum all at once. So you'll do that, right? Again, we're going to apply that 91 day rule to these new cards we just got. So we're going to use them daily. These are going to be our daily beaters. We're going to pay them off daily, weekly, monthly. It doesn't matter. Just pay them joints off regularly. Then at the end of the 91 days for this new set of cards, you're going to ask for credit limit increases for all of them. Again, the 3X rule. You're going to triple your credit limits for all 5 of these new cards. So now you got 6 cards and you done tripled all the limits. Now at this point, I would chill, right? You don't want to go too crazy. I would chill, and I will use these 6 cards for the next 6 months, at least the next 6 months. Again, showing good behavior, using them regularly, running them up, meaning using them a lot, maxing them out if possible, and then paying them off. Max it out, pay it off. Do that once or twice a month on each card if you can. If you can't, that's fine. Use each card regularly and pay it off in full. Because of course with your American Express cards, you want to make sure you're using each card for a specific purpose. Of course, Hilton, because you love to travel, you like to stay in Hilton hotels. Maybe you got the Hilton, Aspire, and you got Diamond Level. The Delta Reserve card, you like Delta, you love getting TSA pre-check for free, you like free clear, boom, you got that. You got the business card because you like getting 1.5 points for every purchase over $5,000. You like the what the hotel program they got. What's my hotel program? Damn. The Fine Resorts and Hotel program, right? So maybe you like the gold and the platinum cards for that, or their hotel collection program, or you just love racking up points, right? Whatever. Use these cards for, I would say, 6 whole months. Don't apply for any new ones. At 6 months, right? I would say 122 days of having all 6 of these cards. Guess what? It's time to run it again. Choose another 5 cards that you like. Let's say you want to do all 0 interest. That would be if you're doing all 0 interest because you have a major project coming up. Maybe you're putting a new roof on the house. Maybe you're expanding the business and you need to purchase some new equipment, or you're bringing on some people, or you need to purchase some new software that's super fucking expensive and you need time to pay it off. Go the 0 interest route. You can apply for the Blue family of credit cards. That's the Blue Cash Plus. There's on the personal side, you got the Blue Cash Plus. No, you got the Blue Cash Magnet, and then you got just the blue. Then on the business side, you got the Business Blue Plus and the Business Blue Cash, right? So that's 4 cards that you can apply for that all have 0% interest for a year on a personal and on the business side. So let's say, you get $10,000 for each of those. You just funded yourself $40,000. Same thing. Within 90 days of using these cards, the new cards at 0 interest, paying them off, using them, paying them off, using them, you can triple those limits as well. You basically rinse and repeat this pattern. So once you're at what we just went through, we went to 5, then we went to 6, then I gave you 4 more cards. You're at 10 cards. So you got 4 more slots, right, for Amex. 4 more slots that you can use. Boom. Now you're maxed out. You had all 14 slots. You're going to rinse and repeat this process basically for the rest of your tenure with Amex. Once you have all 14 slots filled, you can start mixing and matching, continue to use them regularly, pay them off regularly, and keep asking for triple your credit limit every 3 to 6 months with Amex. All right. Amex is a 7-figure relationship company because and what's amazing about them is that they don't have a bank per se. There's no physical location. They're only going off your relationship with them. So they're going off your credit report. They're going off what you spend, how much you spend, and where you spend it. And they're also tracking how frequently you pay them back. That's why they're one of the few companies where if you wanted to pay them every single day, that actually they like that. They want you to pay them off as much as possible, as frequently as possible. That's actually kind of different from the lower tier banks. Lower tier banks want to charge you interest. They want to charge you, that 25% or whatever because you carry the balance. That's why some banks, even Capital One, would do this. They would actually freeze your card if you paid them off too frequently. This happened to me. Like, I had a $10,000 balance before I paid that joint off, and it was like, oh, we froze your card because we marked it as fraud. I was like, what's fraudulent about paying off the card? That doesn't make any sense. American Express, they're like, hell yeah, run it up, pay it off. Run it up, pay it off. As long as you keep running it up and paying it off, we will give you as much money as you want. Now, throughout this process, though, there are a couple of thresholds that you may run into throughout this process of getting your 14 cards, throughout this process of hitting your $1 million in funding. They may ask for docs. And it's called a financial review. Y'all got to know about this, right? Y'all got to know about this. Because y'all got to know. Y'all got to know, right? If you want more help with your particular funding strategy, hit me up, description in the link. But this right here, just following this right now, I just gave y'all $1 million worth of game. Throughout this process, you're going to run into some financial reviews. Everyone's been through a financial review. If you've been with American Express long enough, it's like damn near unavoidable. Especially if you have multiple cards with them, especially if you have more than $35,000 in credit with American Express. Now, there's a couple of things that trigger these financial reviews. One, the amount of credit that you have with them. So once you're over like 50,000, they may do like a soft financial review, meaning they'll just ask you for like maybe pay stubs and a screenshot of your bank account to show deposits going into your bank account, right? Some higher ones, or a more advanced version of it, is they'll want you to do a 4506, which is they want to see your freaking tax returns. If they really thinking something fishy is going on, they're going to want to ask to see your tax returns, okay? Now, I mean, a tax return is a tax return. They so sweet with it that they have a button where you click the button and they'll automatically just grab your tax returns for you and upload it into their system. At the end of the day, a financial review isn't scary as long as you're giving your real financials. Like, if you're not lying, if you don't have anything to hide, there's nothing scary about a financial review. It's more of an inconvenience than anything, because during the financial review, they freeze your accounts. You can't use it. So I would say that's something to look out for. Be prepared for it as you go on your $1 million journey with American Express towards those 14 cards. Just be ready for it, right? That's it. Now, that's everything I got for y'all today, right? We went through a lot of different things. I wanted to finish it off with a bang. Listen, like this, share this live out. Nice meeting you, Brent. Check out the link if you're someone who wants to build up your business credit. The link is pinned there. You can also check the links in the the description. You're welcome, Shelly. You can also check the links in the description. If you're a small business owner or even a new entrepreneur and you want to navigate this game of banking, set a consultation with me. We can discuss what your funding journey is going to look like and how I can help you get access to capital. Access to capital, people like a number. I say, how much money do you want? It don't matter, right? It don't like, because getting access to capital is a lifelong journey. I'll work with you for life. However much money you want, we can get that for you. But let's say you want 50,000, 50 to 250,000. That's what the internet says. So we'll go with that. And you're not sure of how to get it or what you need done, book an appointment with me. Use the link. You can check out my website, crackthescore.com. Fill out the pre-qualification form, and let's work. Let's get you funded. In the meantime, enjoy your weekend, everybody. Peace.